Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Tuesday, July 23rd, day 8 in the Big Brother house, right? This is the second Tuesday they have been in the Big Brother house. So what is going on? We did indeed have the Power Veto meeting yesterday. It went as expected, and Lisa used the Power Veto. Matt was the replacement nomination. Now, leading up to it, there was a bit of trickery going on. Tucker, I'm not even 100% sure on how it went. It sounds like maybe Matt tried to volunteer. Well, he volunteered Takor to go up, and she was never going to go up. And then he also may have volunteered Matt volunteered Takor. Also may have volunteered Tucker, and Tucker agreed, and I'm putting air quotes around this, agreed to go up, but he also had a conversation with Angela and said, no, you're not going to go up. This is all just a ruse just to mess with Matt's head, so he's blindsided. So, in the end, Matt was always going up as the renom. Matt is still Angela's focus, even though they've had a few conversations to get out of the house this week. So we are now at 3 nominees. We have Matt, we have Kenny, and we have Chemo. And we still have this AI competition. We did not have Mackenzie did not play her power. So that's the 2 powers are off for the week. And so we just have this AI thing at some time on Thursday's show. And at that point, one of the remaining 3 will get saved. And based on, if I had to pick right now, I would say it's either Matt or Kenny getting evicted. I would say if Matt and Kenny are the only 2 on the block, that Matt will get voted out. If it is the other, if Chemo is up there, then whoever Chemo is up against will get voted out. That's my current take on things, spin on things. But again, it's Tuesday. We have until Thursday, although I really cannot see Chemo doing anything that would put him in harm's way against either of the other 2, even though Kenny, he's kind of mended fences a little bit. He told Angela yesterday that he was not even going to try in the AI competition. Like, he's kind of, yesterday was, and this is a shout out to Angela, Rockstar from her season. It was his daughter's birthday yesterday, and it kind of got to him, and so he was kind of like, I just don't know if I could do this, and he kind of had a whole thing of, I'm just not built for this game or whatever, and it's really getting to him. And so he was kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to throw it. I'll just make sure Matt if Matt can possibly win it, I want to throw it to Matt to let him save himself. We saw that on the show, that he kind of said, like, oh, Matt's a kid of an Air Force kid and has a police, connection and this and that. And so Kenny has a soft spot, either rightly or wrongly, for Matt. And so he is willing to throw his game over for Matt. Again, we're at Tuesday. We're at Monday when he started to say all this, and he told Angela this, and she got really mad. She expressed it as she's concerned for him, and she doesn't want him to quit. In reality, she doesn't want the odds to increase that Matt stays, because she feels she needs Matt out of the game. You'll see it on Wednesday's show, I am sure. The whole production that Angela went through, where she threw Matt solidly under the bus, somewhat justified, but in other ways, I mean, look, she really, really laid it out there and laid Matt out, and so she knows if Matt stays around, she's in trouble. So she's got to get rid of Matt in any way possible. And so Kenny not being willing to fight to stay is a source of frustration for her. So they had a kind of a heated exchange, and Kenny, in essence, said, I really don't care what you think because you're the one who put me in this position, to Angela, which is fair. Later on in the evening, though, and I posted a couple of videos, they had a heart-to-heart, and they apologized to each other. They seemed to mend fences. This is Angela and Kenny. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. It might. It might not. It doesn't matter. Again, it's either... I cannot see Chemo getting votes. I just don't. His relationships with everybody seems fairly solid. It's not super strong, but it's also, he's not a polarizing character. He's just kind of a nice guy. And they're not at the point of we're voting out the nice guys yet, right? They're voting out the strong people. And there's enough people against Matt that I would have to see him getting voted out. Or Kenny, who's now voiced his, get me out of the house thing, and also shows great support for Matt. So that's kind of where we're at. Lots of things went on. I watched the feeds for several hours last night. There was some technical issues with Paramount. Their site got overloaded. It appears their servers couldn't handle the load of people trying to load multiple things. It wouldn't have just been the Big Brother content, but you have to think that the Big Brother content is the reason they were suddenly swamped and overloaded, and so you couldn't reload if you had the live feeds running, you were okay, but basically you would get a maximum connections message on the website if you were coming from a computer, from the app, be it your Roku app or your whatever TV app or whatever app you use. I just couldn't get the app to load, and if it did load, it was strange and slow and wonky and wasn't working. And it just appears to be, in my opinion, in my non-professional, semi-tiny professional, since I am an IT person, opinion, that it really appeared that they didn't have enough equipment to support the load, right? The error was maximum connections. Like, we don't have room for any more. That was the web error that you would see. We don't have enough resources to support the amount of people that are trying to load things. Now, here's the question. Is that because more people are trying to watch because they're than previous seasons because they're interested? Is it because Paramount, aka CBS, has reduced the number of servers that are out there, the amount of equipment that is out there that can support the connections? I would tend to guess that that's part of the problem. If you think about it, they have also changed, and I say CBS, aka Paramount, they have also changed the way they serve their content in that no longer can you request to rewind or fast forward. Think about it. In previous seasons, you would have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people all watching the feeds at the same time, but all at different places on the feeds, right? Everybody using it as a virtual DVR and watching it. And in my brain, and this isn't my area of technology, but in my brain, that is more of a resource strain than just people turning it on and seeing a stream coming down the line. Now, there still has to be a back and forth communication between my computer and the servers. However, it's very, it's mostly one way of them just pushing content to me and me saying, yep, I got that, yep, I got that, yep, I got that. Not me saying, wait a minute, go back 5 minutes, wait a minute, go back 3 minutes, go back. There's no, the back and forth. It's much more of a one-way feed of information. So it should be less of a resource hog. But chances are, they said, we're not going to do flashback anymore, so we don't need as much equipment as we have in the past, so we're going to reduce that cost. And my guess is, in all truth, that cost isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. But to a pencil pusher and an accountant, and no offense to accountants, my degree is in finance, they're just looking at the bottom line, and sometimes they make dumb decisions that they don't think of the consequences for. And this seems to be one of those consequences, in that the system got overloaded. Now, I could be completely wrong. There could have been some other problem. A server that normally was working, went down and they didn't have enough backups to go for things. There may have been just plain a problem and they had to fix it. But we don't know because they're not going to tell us. And so we just had to guess. And my guess is too many people trying to watch at the same time for the amount of equipment they had. As someone else said, maybe it is not too many people as much as a bunch of people have multiple connections running at the same time because we can't rewind. So we want to have multiple cameras open at the same time so that we can jump from one to one without having to shut the other off, right? That's a possibility too. Maybe people have it running, in different places, or I don't know. I mean, hard to tell. And we'll leave it at that. This is the technical stuff, but this also goes back to the lack of flashback this year. It's a problem. They're not going to go back to it because they got rid of flashback, in my opinion, for different reasons, which is they don't want people to be able to see things that may have gone on that aren't most flattering, even though I think now more people are recording the feeds and sharing the recordings, which kind of does an end run around some of this. But all this is to say that there's still a free option too, which is Pluto TV. And that continued to work last night just fine. So, but think about it that way. CBS Paramount is sending one stream to Pluto, and Pluto is then distributing that one stream out to the masses. And so they have their own setup, and that's why Pluto TV would have continued working, whereas Paramount was having an overall problem with their network. Okay, more than most of you care to know, but hey, that's me. What can I say? That's the kind of stuff I delve into. Let's look at the cast real quick and kind of do a once-over. Have-nots have ended. They ended at midnight last night. I was not up at midnight last night, but I know they were going to end. There are some alliances and stuff that have formed. I can't touch on that. I'm gonna pull up Razor Skates and Dolfika's alliance charts, or those things maybe tomorrow, and go over them. I have a vague sense of alliances, but I need to see the names as they've identified each other. I watched the quote barbershop alliance have a meeting in the storage room and do an all hands in thing. I couldn't tell you who all was in the room. I just was like, too many people, a lot of people, and everyone is saying it's mostly a fake alliance for Matt's purposes, and he was kind of the ringleader of talking about it, and it's barbershop to stand for BS, which is, Matt explained, it's because of all the BS he had to put up with because of Angela. So it's a mostly fake alliance set up to support Matt. Obviously it's not going to survive, and it is giving Matt confidence to think that he's in good shape. There's also, and just other alliances, there are also some others. I saw someone mention that T-Core and Cedric kind of did a final two thing. I also saw, who was it? It was, I think, T-Core and, was it Cedric? Or was it? See, this is a problem. I just need to see it all drawn out where I can look at it and explain it, and I will say, oh yeah, I saw that one, but I can't think of them at the top of my head. But there is also an alliance of the have-nots. Okay, so Cam, Chemo, Quinn, and Tucker, I believe they have kind of a pseudo alliance for being in the have-not room and having suffered this first week together. They also seem to kind of talk about maybe having Joseph be a part of that. I watched a moment, actually it was almost at the same moment as the barbershop thing was getting ready to happen, but there is crossover between these two. But I saw maybe it was when Angela and Kenny were talking. I'm not sure, but in the have-not room, I thought they were going to get together and do like a little "we're an alliance" thing, and then Joseph kind of walked into the room, and it kind of didn't catch. So I know Tucker was talking about having Joseph involved, but they didn't make it official. Maybe they've done it already, but just be aware that there's that kind of relationship there between that group. So again, that's Tucker, Cam, Chemo, and Quinn. Think of them as kind of a bit of an alliance. Tucker is definitely anti-Lisa, very anti-Lisa. Lisa, again, has that power. I think I've talked about this. She's got the power veto, or she had the power veto. And yesterday afternoon, actually, there's a whole other story. See, so there's all this stuff going on. Lisa, after the power veto meeting, had a long talk with Matt. And Matt said, Angela says, you were pushing for me, and which she was, in a way, although she kept saying, I wasn't pushing for anybody. I was telling her to make her own decisions. But she said it's got to be a guy, right? Lisa's not happy that Angela was tying herself in with her, and she also doesn't want Matt doing it. She went in a whole damage control thing yesterday and telling everybody, don't talk about me behind my back. Trying to say it in a nice way, but also in a semi-aggressive way. And it was kind of, it's not good for her game. She was going around trying to shut down anybody talking about her. And she was talking with Matt, and across the yard, she hears her name. And what it was Lee, and I can't remember who else. She was one of them, maybe Chemo, maybe Takor, I'm not even sure, but it doesn't matter. They were joking about people's, these people aren't this, they really aren't what they say they are. Like, maybe Angela's an undercover cop, maybe, and Lisa's not really a chef, and that's what Lisa heard. And she kind of jumped up and stormed across the way, and Matt was like, no, don't, and she didn't care. She ran into the situation like, hey, just so you know, what if you have any questions, you should ask me, and and they were kind of like, Lee was kind of like, we're just making jokes. We're just having fun, what ifs kind of a thing. Nothing was meant by it. And they eventually talked their way down, and Lisa kind of apologized for coming in hot, as she said, but in reality, she really put off that group of people by doing that. And she later on, and I posted this video, went at Lee again and said, hey, don't, if you have any questions, or don't joke about that stuff. And you could just tell that Lee was kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. Not happy with Lisa. So yeah, I don't think Lisa's not winning this game, in my opinion. She rubs people the wrong way. Tucker, again, really doesn't like her. And she's not I don't think she has a super strong relationship with anyone in particular. She's seen as a strong player, but I don't think she has a super strong alliance with anybody right now. That's my opinion. What else? Okay, so I was talking about alliances, the Barbershop Alliance, the Have Not Room Alliance. Oh gosh, see, this is where just too many people, too many things going on. Let me go through. Shoot. Okay, this is good. Stalled out my car. Good job, Mike. Let me run through a very, very brief status of the house guests and what's going on. We've got Angela, head of household. Yeah, she's still all over the place. By the way, there's also been chatter online that Angela has been on Dr. What's his name? The doctor guy. One of the doctor guys. The big mustache, bald head guy. Been on his show. Been on The Price is Right. So she spent a little bit of time on TV shows. Those clips are out there if you look for them. I was going to say Dr. Will. It's not Dr. Will. You know who I'm talking about. Apparently because she doesn't get along with her ex-husband, kind of a thing it sounds like. So it's not all as wonderful in Angela's world, as happy-go-lucky as she came across in her opening video. Brooklyn is still out there. No big major things happened with her yesterday. She'll eventually play a part in the show, but she isn't really doing a whole lot right now. Cam is involved with people, moving around, seems to get along with people. Good vibes from Cam, I think. Cedric, the same kind of thing. Chelsea, she seems to be in the background a bit too. She was in the bathroom. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the bathroom last night when I was watching, and she was just kind of there doing her nails or doing something in the background, but not necessarily participating. She's there, and she is participating, just not as much as some of the others. She is involved in alliances and stuff too. Don't get me wrong. Actually, it was her and T-Core, and I can't remember again who else. It may have been Cedric doing kind of alliance talk. Joseph, again, gets along with most people. I think he's in solid. He's all right shape. He seems to have fairly good head on his shoulder. Kenny, again, told you already about him. Talked about him enough. Chemo seems safe for the week, even though he's nominated. seemed a little bit more centered and calmed down today. Not quite as, I don't know, quite as loud, as active, as live as I noticed him the day before. Lee spent a lot of time talking. Lee talks a lot. I haven't figured her out yet. Just not sure yet where she got very excited about Taco Bell last night talking with Cam. I posted that video and made a GIF of it, as a matter of fact, too. Lisa, talked about her already. Mackenzie, very tight with Matt. And that may be her downfall, at least until Matt is gone. So right now she is linked very closely with Matt. I don't see her being super close with anybody else. That's my take. She'll have to try, but she and Matt and Kenny are kind of like three people on a bit of an island, in the way I see it. I'm not saying it's going to stay that way, but at least that's my sense right now. Matt is Matt. Quinn has, in addition to having told Angela about his fake HOH power, he also told Chemo at some point. So at least two people know about his fake HOH power. You don't tell people about your secret powers. You do not do it. I tweeted yesterday. I think I told you guys. I think I tweeted the day before. I would not have, even if Quinn had a twin, I wouldn't tell my twin I had the power. Don't tell people you have secret powers. It doesn't give you that much agency with other people. It doesn't give you that much credit with other people by revealing that. It can only cause problems for you. You should never tell them you have a secret power. You should never tell them you use your secret power until you're standing there at the very end, and then you drop the bomb on everybody. Said, that was me with the secret power, and I told none of you. Vote for me to win because I can keep a secret. Rubina is still getting along with everybody. Okay, she's doing all right. She's hanging in there. No issues. T-Core, same thing. She's doing all right with everybody. Tucker, very dramatic. Tucker was crying yesterday. Tucker, he will be a big character in this house. He will continue to be a big character. I could see a Zach. I am seeing a bit of a Zach Rance kind of a feel to him. A more mature Zach Rance, probably, because he's also older than Zach was. But he's not a bad guy, but he's also very set in his way in his opinions. And he has been very clear that he does not like Lisa. That's what I can say about that right now. He also is willing to lie straight up to people's faces. He had a conversation with Mackenzie yesterday where you could just tell Mackenzie seemed to be wanting to kind of, share information and talk and stuff. And Tucker gave her the impression that he was willing to do all that, but he was just straight up lying to her. So it's like, yeah, Tucker and Mackenzie are not going to be in any kind of alliance. Maybe after Matt goes, maybe something will change, but I don't think it'll be the case. So there's that, right? Okay, that's what I got for you guys right now. Today, it's Tuesday. Normally we'd call it Flip-Flop Tuesday. I'm not sure what's going to happen today. And then we have Waffle Wednesday. This is more in past seasons. It's hard to tell right now, especially this week. It's early on. I think people are going to lock in more and more on Matt or Kenny as their target. And they have to keep both of them as options because, again, one of them may come off the block on Thursday night. And so they have to just keep their options open. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks to everyone for your support. Listening to the commercials at the end. Thank you to my patrons. I'm going to give you guys a shout out yet this week. If you are interested in supporting me by becoming a patron, you can go to patreon.com/bbgossip and sign up. Also, I do have a Ko-fi account. You can get to that by my information. The link is in my Twitter account. And you can find me there and do that if you want. Whatever you want. If you want to support me, it's awesome. It's appreciated. And again, I will talk to you guys later today if something major happens. If not, tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye-bye.